Hey everybody, it's me, Valerie, and it is 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, so it is time for One Card Wonder Wednesday for today, April 17th, 2019. I hope everyone's having a good day. So far, so good here. I used 3 different stamp sets today for this card, and I'm going to show you the card in just a minute. But before I do that, I guess I'll show you the stamp sets first. Forever Lovely. I used this big flower mainly, and some of the leaves. I didn't use any sentiments from this. The only thing I used from Incredible Like You are these 3 little dots. And then for Beautiful Bouquet, I used the Congratulations sentiment, because today I am making a bridal shower card for someone very special, my niece. And when she sees this video, she'll know what her card looks like, but that's okay, because at least I will have been able to make the video and everything. So I used something that she sent in her invitation. This is a recipe card that I need to put a recipe on for her, but I wanted to do something with flowers that were similar. That's why I chose the Forever Lovely stamp, because it was the closest that I have with stamps from Stampin' Up! To make her a card. So I wanted to get the colors as close as possible. So I'm just going to set this to the side. You'll be able to see it a little bit in the corner there, the flowers. But what I did was, actually, I'm going to show you the card before I show you what I did. That makes more sense. So here's the finished card. Isn't that gorgeous? I used Lovely lipstick for the card base and for this background. And then for the flowers themselves, I had to do something a little bit different. I had to take my Whisper White cardstock, and then I used my sponge daubers, and I used 2 different colors. I used Poppy Parade and Lovely lipstick. So the first thing I did was Poppy Parade. And once I got my stamp ready, and these are the distinctive stamps, so you don't want to over ink them anyway. For me, with the photopolymer ones, it has worked out best to use the sponge daubers or something to get the ink onto the sponge. So I did Poppy Parade first, and I just did the center of the flower. That's it. And then I opened up my Lovely lipstick, slurring my L's here, and just did all around the edges and a little bit toward the center, but not too much. And then I'm going to use one of my foam mats underneath my paper here. Just gonna slide it in. I need to move the card out of the way or I won't have room. That gives your photopolymers a little bit of cushion when you're stamping, so you get a better image. Now, that didn't turn out quite as dark as I wanted it, so I'll go ahead and redo that. But before I redo it, I need to clean it. I found that if I didn't clean it right after I sponged the 2 different colors, it always ended up just a little bit off. So Poppy Parade for the center. Again, Lovely lipstick for the outside edges, and maybe I just didn't ink it quite enough when I did the first one. And there you get that brighter color, and you get a little bit of that Poppy Parade in the center like I wanted, just so it kind of is similar to these flowers. See how that turned out? It's kind of pretty, right? So I'm just going to set this stamp aside because I'm done with that for now, because what I did was I've already pre-stamped a couple of these and cut them out earlier, but I want to show you how I got that little spot in the center. I took those 3 dots from that Incredible Like You stamp set, and I used gray granite ink. Now the only thing that you have to watch with this is because you only want a little bit in the center to have those little brown areas, as I call them. They're brown on the card after you use the gray granite ink, just because of the other colors of ink. I just took this outside circle, and that's the only one that I touched onto the ink pad. And then I did that like 3 times and just kind of did a little, that doesn't have to be perfectly in the center of your flower, but as close as you want to get it, I guess. And I just stamped 3 of them together. You could do more, you could do less. It's, you know, completely up to you, but I just thought 3 was a good number. And then after you stamp it, it looks kind of brown, which is kind of how this was. These are in the center. They have that little bit of that brownish color. So it's not exactly the same flower, but it's pretty darn close, I think. So I think my niece will be pretty happy with this card when she sees it. Now that I have those stamped, the next thing I stamped were, I did some leaves and some of these little leaf stems that have like more than one on them. And for that color, I chose Pear Pizzazz for the background color. But then I thought this darker color is pretty close to Shaded Spruce. So I decided to go with Shaded Spruce to do the veins on the leaves. And see how pretty that turns out when you put that Shaded Spruce on that Pear Pizzazz. It's really gorgeous. And then I did the same with these leaf stems, and I did several of those, and I've already cut those out ahead of time, so I don't need to stamp a bunch of those for this either. If there's anything that I have to cut out ahead of time, I tried to do that earlier so you don't have to bear with me through all that cutting and fussing. So I'm just going to set this aside. And now I use the Lovely Flower dies to cut out these flowers, to cut out those little leaves, and to cut out some of these. I've got like a bunch of different little pieces that are going to be going together to put this card together. I also used the stitch label, and I used this one and this one from these dies. And then I used some of the leaves from the foliage frame dies. I like to mix and match my dies because that way you get a little more, I don't know, a little more fluff to your card because you're putting lots of extra little pieces on it from other sets. So the first thing I need to do is I need to reopen my Shaded Spruce ink that doesn't want to open now that I closed it. Maybe I didn't get it tight. Let's see. There we go. I just had it a little bit crooked and it didn't want to open. So I used the Shaded Spruce to stamp the congratulations on this little stitched banner. And I wanted to do that because the words and letters on this recipe card are in that color as well. So I thought, well, I'll just use the exact same color for that. Now that I've got that done, I'm going to take this little ticket and I cut it in half. And we're going to do some layering. We're going to use lots of glue dots, lots of dimensionals to get this layering accomplished. So I'm going to get all that out right now. I'm just going to move this card over. We'll have everything ready to go in just a minute. All right, I'm going to peel these back just a little bit because I want to take these leaves and I want to attach them on here, just attach them to a glue dot. And that way when I'm ready to start attaching them to the card, all I have to do is pick them off with my Take Your Pick tool or my paper piercer and put them on there. Hi Sharon, how are you? I have this awesome little vellum piece and that's going to be attached to the card. And I should have one more of those somewhere. And it looks like it's not, oh, here it is. I knew it had to be here somewhere because I knew I cut two of them. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to attach that to a glue dot as well. Just get them all attached now while we're here. We've got lots of little leaves to add on. Do any of you have this Forever Lovely stamp set? And if you do you like it? Have you used it a lot? It is in the Occasions catalog right now. So it will be one of those. I believe it is retiring. I'm not positive, but I believe it is. I'm going to make a video and I'm going to go through the catalog and mark off everything so you all can see what is retiring, what is returning as cling stamps. Let's get these little leaves and we'll attach those to the flowers. And I know I'm going to need a couple more here, but there we've got one ready. These other leaves are gonna go on the back, but I wanna just set them aside for now. I'll just stick them to this so I can unroll a little bit more of this to get these other leaves with some glue dots on them. I've got, it's almost stuck there on its own. Like I said, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna mark my catalog, and then I'm going to get another catalog out and go through everything to show everyone what is retiring, what isn't. And I'll probably, I don't want to promise a date because I'm not sure exactly what day I'm gonna get that video done, but hopefully by this weekend, sometime or early next week, so everyone will know what's retiring, what isn't, because it's always helpful to know. And then you can plan for what you want to order, if there's something that's going to be retiring that you're going to want. All right, now that I have a couple of leaves on these flowers, I want to put a couple of the mini dimensionals on here and just separate these two flowers, but in height, but connect them together so then we can really start the good layering process. And I kind of want this leaf going over this flower, so it just gives it a little more dimension. And I think I'm going to move this leaf that I put on there to another spot in just a minute. I want to take these guys off. It's just a, when you're doing something like this and you're layering, it takes a little bit of guesswork sometimes to get it exactly where you want it and everything the way you thought it was going to look when you started. And since I already have an example of what I did, I'm trying to do similar to that, the one that I already made. But if it's not exact, that's okay, because it doesn't have to be. All right, take these two little leaves here, and I can see on this card I've kind of layered one in the center here, so it's sticking out right here, and then one on this side on the bottom sticking out. And see, I've already done these leaves just a little bit different, and that's okay. And now I've got this group of 3 leaves I want coming out because I want to give it a little bit more length, and that'll help draw the length out a little bit. And I'll do the same with these ones. I'm going to draw the length out on this side with these ones. Kind of bring it down too because I want it to kind of frame around that congratulations a little bit. I might bring that over just a little bit this way, flip this one just a little bit this way. And now I've got these 2 little ticket pieces. These ticket pieces I cut it in half because it's not quite long enough for what the look that I wanted. I wanted it kind of coming out from the back on one side and then down this side here on this edge. But because it's not quite long enough, I had to cut it in half to give it that length. I'm just gonna put it on an angle, and then I'm gonna put a glue dot on the other end of this. Like I said, this is a lot of glue dots and a lot of dimensionals in this layering when you do a layering process like this. And it looks pretty crazy on the back side of it, but when you get your front side done, see, it looks pretty wild on the back, but once the front side's done, it looks amazing. Okay, I have 2 more little leaf stems here, and I want these, yeah, we'll have it come out right here. And then I'll do the other one on the other side underneath this ticket piece. I think that gives it just a little more length as well. And I'll wait to add these other 2 leaves here, and I want to go ahead and put some dimensionals on the back of this so then we can start to get the card put together. And once we get the card put together, then we can get those other little leaves in there and get them exactly where we want them. Now, because I put dimensionals to raise this flower up, I'm going to need extra dimensionals on the back. So that is why I'm putting two, one on top of the other, because that will hold that side up and it'll be even all the way across, so it doesn't look like your centerpiece here is, I don't know how you want to call it, sinking on one side, I guess. All right, now what I'll do is take my lovely lipstick that I cut 4 1/4 by 11, and I'm going to fold that in half. I've already scored it, and I have this, I use the tufted embossing folder, which is a 3D embossing folder. And I'm going to go ahead and just put dimensionals on each corner, and then 2 kind of in the center to keep, again, that from sagging. And then once I get all this on, we'll just attach that right to the front. Oh, I got it on there a little bit crooked, but that's okay. I'm going with it. Take your little congratulations banner that we made using that gorgeous stitched piece. And then we've got a piece of vellum, and I want to use my banner, triple banner punch. And I'm just gonna bring it just through the end. And this is 1 inch by 4 inches, I believe. And just take those little ends off, and that'll go right on the front of the card. And then we'll take that little congratulations banner, and that's gonna go right on the front of that vellum banner. Perfect. All right, now that we've got everything taken off from this, we're just gonna add this right to the front of the card. And I can't come down too far because my little, maybe if I turn him, he's with a glue dot. Let me put another glue dot under there and turn him just a little bit so he won't cover up the C. Then we can bring that down just a little bit. There we go. Now it can come down just a little bit more like that, just to go at the top of the banner. And now I have these little vellum pieces. These are awesome. I just love these little, I'm gonna cut their stems off because they're kind of long. And then I just take my take your pick tool, or this is not my take your pick tool, this is my paper piercing tool, and just kind of stick that in behind the flower, and then they'll stick out just a little bit. This is the perfect thing to use, this or the take your pick tool, to bring items like this back in, to put them in after you've already got everything else where you want it. But you want to, sometimes you want to look at it while it's on the card. Hi, Angie. Look at it while it's on the card before you get everything in there where it's going to be. And now I had added, and I forgot to add them to my little thing. I had added a couple of little white pieces on here, but I won't be able to do that right now just because I didn't bring them over here. But I'll add that one leaf in at the top just to give it a little bit of height right there, because it'll kind of balance out that little ticket piece that I put in there. I'm gonna set this aside, and we will do a quick stamping for the inside of the card. Now we're going to use that same flower again, make sure I have it cleaned. And we'll start with the Poppy Parade. And we'll stamp the center. And remember, when you do this, if you're doing more than one, clean it in between, or it'll end up, all your colors will get blended too much, and since you don't want them all blended. Oh, I need to put my mat under this or it won't stamp properly. Oh, look at that, gorgeous. And then we'll open up the gray granite and we'll put those 3 little dots in the middle again, just so it matches the flowers on the front. There. Have that done. We will add that to into the center of the card. We're just going to flip that over. You can use your combo, you can use your snail, whichever adhesive you want to use to adhere that to the center of your card, the inside of your card. I know, isn't that gorgeous? Now that is a personalized, oh no, I got ink on my on my recipe card. So Brittany, you're gonna get ink on your recipe card, and you know that's with love because I made this card especially for you for your bridal shower. And I hope you like it, and I hope everyone enjoyed watching today. Leave me some comments and some likes and some hearts, and I will be back again next Wednesday to share another One Card Wonder video. Thanks for watching. Bye.